Happy Thanksgiving to one and all. And behind this whole feast that we celebrate of Thanksgiving, it seems to have nothing to do with the Gospels. And we have to remember that those Puritans who broke bread with the people who were already in this land, they would mark time by how God had blessed them, not necessarily by holidays, but when they felt that God was prospering them. And so they would have fast days if things weren't going too well, if the crops weren't producing, if things weren't going on. And we know that way back, just a little bit of history here, in 1863, and back in maybe June, President Lincoln at that time called for a fast, a day of fast, because things weren't going well in the United States of America as they stood at that time. And he was afraid that the whole country was going to fall apart. So he called for a fast. And it wasn't until after the fast, there was the battle at Gettysburg, and things seemed to make a turn. And that was when he declared that the fourth Thursday of every November was to be a day to celebrate how much God has done for our nation, that Thanksgiving. But he declared it back in October after Gettysburg, and he wanted people to know that God is there making things possible for us, blessing us in spite of what we think is going on, and the recognition that it was the people together. Let us remember that those people that came together, those pilgrims, they were people who extended themselves from the Anglican Church and came to the United States for freedom of worship. So, as we think of Thanksgiving, let us remember that Thanksgiving was to call people together. And if you see any of the pictures of Thanksgiving, look as they promote the pilgrims, the Puritans, extended from the Anglican Church, those Puritans who became the Methodists in the United States afterwards, as all these Christianity forms seemed to break off. They were the ones who broke bread. And as we think of breaking bread with our friends and neighbors on this Thanksgiving Day, let us remember that the breaking of the bread is the lifting, breaking, and sharing of God's blessing upon each and every one of us. And the only stem that it has to the scriptures is that Thanksgiving is what the word Eucharist means. Eucharist. And it's something in our faith that basically says we are together in this and we will all prosper. The U stands for good and the charis is for grace. Good grace. It is a sacrament, or however you want to call it in your church, but we give thanks because God is great, God cares for us, and God dwells within us. On this day, happy Thanksgiving from First United Church of Christ in Richmond, Michigan, to all of you. This is Pastor Katie Carney Daly from the church, pastor, and happy Thanksgiving. Blessings to all.